You're watching Man Movie, and tonight we went to the vaults to dig up a man movie and American film classic from 1942, starring Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Peter Lorre, Claude Rains, and a few other people, Casablanca. Now, people might be thinking, is Casablanca really as action-packed as Escape from New York or Deliverance or Demolition Man or Cliffhanger? The answer is yes, it is.
Oh, I was going to say no.
Some might say no, I say yes. And I'll tell you why. It's packed with emotional action and adventure. Casablanca takes place in Morocco, which is French territory, and it's during the heat of the Nazi invasions of Europe, World War II.
Yes.
And
tumultuous time.
And Casablanca, located in Morocco, is sort of a neutral zone. France has control of the area to a degree. The Nazis, they don't have complete reign yet. I mean, obviously, their goal is to take over the entire world. Mm-hmm. They haven't gotten this far yet.
I've often speculated on why you don't return to America. Did you abscond with the church funds? Did you run off with the senator's wife? I like to think that you killed a man. It's the romantic in me.
It's a combination of all three.
And what in heaven's name brought you to Casablanca?
My health. I came to Casablanca for the waters.
The waters? What waters? We're in the desert.
I was misinformed.
The main character is played by Humphrey Bogart. His name's Rick. He runs a cafe called Rick's American Cafe. Mm-hmm. And this is, the hot spot of town. Everybody comes to Rick's.
Mm-hmm. It's an awesome spot.
It is an awesome spot. I would come to Rick's.
It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, and it's got a nice decor. It's got everything you could want. It's got a piano playing guy there, Sam. It's got a roulette wheel. It's got a bar. Yeah. It's got a bunch of interesting characters, a lot of delightful conversation.
Music's playing all the time. Easy drunk women.
Where were you last night?
That's so long ago, I don't remember.
Will I see you tonight?
I never make plans that far ahead.
Give me another.
Yeah, well, at that time, you didn't know if you were going to be able to get out of Casablanca. You didn't know if you were ever going to leave.
Yeah.
You didn't know if you were going to live or die.
You might as well do some fornicating.
So the plot centers around the letters of transit. There are these letters that have been signed by a French official. Mm-hmm. I don't remember who it was.
Signed by General Vigon.
But for whatever reason, if you have these specific letters of transit, the Nazis cannot stop you from getting on a plane and flying out of Casablanca to America or wherever.
You fly to Lisbon, and then you're off to America. Once you reach Lisbon,
you can go wherever you want. The Nazis would like to get those letters, but they can't find them because Rick very carefully hid them when no one was watching.
Very carefully.
Well, everyone in the club was watching.
Yeah, everybody was watching, yeah.
But it wasn't like there was a spotlight on him while he was trying to hide them.
Well, it was on him briefly, but then he looked up at the spotlight guy, and the guy was like, oh.
He said, you're hiding something.
He moved the spotlight. And once you move the spotlight, it doesn't matter what other lights exist in the area.
Yeah. He chose the
place.
They
can't see you. No one can see him.
No matter what the future brings as time goes by.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
Of all the gin joints in all the world, she decides to walk into his gin joint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were asking about Rick, and here he is. Mademoiselle, may I present...
Hello, Ilsa.
Hello, Rick.
Oh, you've already met Rick, mademoiselle. Well, then perhaps you also...
This is Mr. Laszlo.
How do you do? How do you do? One hears a great deal about Rick in Casablanca, and about Victor Laszlo everywhere. Won't you join?
Rick's former lover, Ilsa, played by Ingrid Bergman. I guess she didn't know he ran the place. She's there with her husband, Laszlo, who is a political thorn in the Nazis' side. He's a publisher who prints lies about the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
He is a head...
What do you mean?
Well, that's what the Major
that's what they did.
Strasser
Yeah,
says.
yeah.
I'm sure he was printing truths now that we
let's be
know a
real.
lot more about the Nazis
Yeah,
than we
let's
once
be
did.
real.
So he's a very important figure in the resistance against the Nazis, and the Nazis hate this man. They don't want him to leave Casablanca. They know that probably the only chance he's got at leaving are the letters of transit that they suspect Rick has hiding somewhere. And Rick knows that he's the only way that Laszlo can escape. But Laszlo is married to a woman he was once in love with and might possibly have a chance with her again. So there's a moral conflict there.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's got these magical letters of transit. He could give them to Laszlo and Ilsa, let them leave. He could burn them, and Laszlo and Ilsa have to stay in Casablanca. He could give them to himself and Ilsa, and they could run off. What's he going to do?
What's he gonna do?
Rick, help me.
Be a fool, you can't get away.
Rick, hide me. Do something. You must help me, Rick.
Throughout the entire movie, he describes himself as someone who's not very caring, not very.
I stick my neck out for no man.
I'd stick my neck out for nobody.
He's not a very sentimental character. Yet the what's his name? The captain guy, the policeman.
Captain Renault.
Captain Renault. He pegs him for a sentimental figure the entire time. He goes, "Oh, you fought in the against the Spanish fascists. You were on the side of the resistance. You've always been,
You used to run guns to somebody."
And he kept going, I had my own reasons.
And got well paid for it on both occasions.
The winning side would have paid you much better.
Maybe.
Was this man ever a idealist, a sentimentalist, as Captain Renault suspects? Or is he just a cold, hard capitalist who has found a spot in the world where he can exploit people in need?
He does rob people, evidently, with his rigged roulette operation.
He's got a crooked roulette game. Somehow he knows what numbers are the ball's gonna stop on.
You tried 22 tonight? I said 22.
You'd think everybody would be like, it keeps landing on 22.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I think I'm just going to put all of my money into 22.
Right.
I don't get
know.
how
I
that
don't know
works.
how that works.
How
but
do
I
you
guess
just randomly know? Well, it's going to land on 22. Well, does it land on 22 every time?
So you know what I bet it is? I bet there's a magnet under number 22, and he has a magnetized ball, and when he wants to cheat,
You grab
he'll
that
grab
ball.
the magnetized ball.
You grab that ball.
And then
yeah,
he
that
moves
makes
the
sense.
magnet around to a different number every night.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay, well, that makes sense.
22, noir, père et part.
Cash it in and don't come back.
Rien ne va plus, monsieur. Fini.
But then he uses this exploitation he has devised as a blessing for that one couple.
Yeah, you start to see after Ilsa comes back to town, it sort of wakens something up in him, I guess. And he has some opportunities to help a young couple get out of town by helping them win money. You start to see him sticking his neck out for people.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, wait, he is a sweetheart.
There's one scene that is kind of emotional where the Nazis, to assert their dominance in the area, the Nazis start singing some Nazi anthem. And then Laszlo, who is Rick's competition, sees this, goes down and starts singing the French national anthem to try to drown them out. And I think, in that moment, Rick kind of sees like this is a quality guy. Usually when you have like a love triangle story, you see the guys are kind of antagonistic of each other, and they were a little bit, but it was more just jealousy. Like they clearly respected each other, and you understood why.
And they were both good men.
They were both good guys.
Yeah.
One of them was outwardly good, the other one was secretly good, and you saw why Ilsa would
good
love
guys.
both of them. Yeah. And you see in her eyes too, when he goes down to sing the national anthem, like she's like beaming over him.
Yeah.
So you see some conflict with her there. And we were talking about movies from that era and how different they were, and how classy everybody was. You know, everyone was witty, and there were a lot of put-downs and one-liners, but they were very, you know, there was obviously no swearing, but it was also sort of, I'm going to insult you in the most subtle way possible.
Yeah, there was so much sophistication in every element of the way people conducted themselves.
Yeah.
It's impressive, yeah.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Unofficially, of course.
Make it official if you like.
What is your nationality?
I'm a drunkard.
And that makes Rick a citizen of the world.
I think he wanted to come off as a gentleman, even if you were challenging somebody to a fight. I think you did it there was a code of conduct with the way people acted back then. Or maybe you were romanticizing it.
I was at like a grocery store the other day. I just noticed like everybody wearing T-shirts. And granted, I wear T-shirts all the time. But like, you look back then, nobody's wearing a T-shirt ever.
Yeah.
That's like, you wear that.
You would look like a bum.
You look like a bum. You wear that at home. But now it's just, you almost look weird if you're not wearing a T-shirt.
I think there's something to be said for having personal dignity in the way that you dress. I mean, you clearly look like a bum today. But that's your culture.
Yeah,
it's not your
I even
fault.
have 2 little holes in this shirt because a cat kind of clawed it recently.
You can get away with a lot when you're well dressed.
You can,
which is why the Nazis were so well dressed.
That is.
We
that
talk
is true.
about the degradation of morals, yet the Nazis were, systematically killing an entire race of people, but they dressed really well.
Yeah. That's how I know that they're morally justified.
Right. So maybe my point is
systematic
bullshit.
Murder.
Forget everything I just said.
Yeah, dress however you want. As long as you're not committing mass genocide, you're a good person. Yeah, there were a lot of great one-liners in this movie. A lot of lines where I'm like, oh, I've heard this line. I've never seen this movie, but I've heard this line.
There's like
1,000 times.
Lines that
we'll
everyone
always
is
have
aware of.
Paris.
We'll always have, here's looking at you, kid.
Here's the looking at you, kid. He says that like 3 times.
Here's looking at you, kid. Here's looking at you, kid. Here's looking at you, kid.
I think
that was like his standard
That was
toast.
his thing.
I don't know what it means.
I'm going to say that next time I'm on a date.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Yeah. See how it goes. See if that move works for me. I don't think it's going to work. It's like, why are you calling me kid?
Yeah. I don't know if women like being called kid.
Probably not. Maybe back then.
Yeah, it was the ultimate compliment to look young. So you call a woman kid.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, okay.
Well, it's like a masculine thing to do because he's kind of acting like a father figure, sort of. Like, I'm here to take care of you, like you're a child that I have sex with.
Honor, duty, and I mean D-U-T-Y, not like poop. That's not.
Yeah,
that's immature. Brotherhood, doing the right thing, which is another way to say a lot of those things I already said. Love. I got to put my beer down. Glory. Patriotism.
This is a lot. This is a long list.
Gambling.
Yeah. Drinking. A lot of gin drinking.
Cigarette smoking. Indoors, in a bar.
You're up to 10. What else do we got? More man stuff.
Shooting Nazis.
Put it down.
Turning down easy chicks. That's a huge man move.
What a fool I was to fall for a man like
So
you.
go with her, Sasha, and be sure she gets home.
Yes, boss.
And come right back.
Yes, boss.
And come right back, you knucklehead.
Yeah,
Because
you notice-
he knew he might date rape her.
Absolutely. That's a huge thing in man movies. You see the strong character go, get out of here, you drug, B word.
Yeah, he did the honorable thing most of the time.
Yeah, he did.
Drowning out Nazis with a better song.
That's good. That's good.
Rounding up the usual suspects to get your friend off the hook for killing a Nazi in front of you.
Definitely.
Not-
Shooting a Nazi.
Not
That's
getting
good.
on that plane, even though you know you love that beautiful girl.
Mm-hmm.
Laszlo needed her on that plane. All right? And she would have regretted it if she didn't get on that plane. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday and for the rest of her life. So these are all the reasons why, although you may not think it at first glance, Casablanca is maybe even the archetype of a true man movie. And if you haven't seen it, watch it 2 times, 3 times maybe.
That's a good one, folks.
It's a great one. Until next time.